Hey, it's Mike from the Mike Wagne Show. Thanks for tuning in to the Mike Wagne Show on Anchor FM. If you're interested in sponsoring my show, you can send me an email to the Mike Wagne Show at gmail.com, or you could also donate to the podcast. Just go to the Donate Listen site, and you can also donate whatever you like. Anchor is the easiest way to make a podcast. For those who are interested, Anchor can give you everything you need in one place for free, which you can use right from your phone or computer. We got creation tools, allows you to record and edit podcasts so it sounds great, and they'll distribute the podcast for you so it can be heard everywhere. Spotify, Apple, Google, many more. And you can make money from the podcast with no minimum listenership. So download the Anchor app for free or go to Anchor FM to get started.
It's now time for the Mike Wagne Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. The Mike Wagne Show can be heard on Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, YouTube, iTunes, Anchor FM, Radio Public, and the MikeWagneShow.com. Mike brings you great guests and interesting people from all across the globe. So sit back, relax, and enjoy another great episode of the Mike Wagne Show.
Hey everybody, it's Mike from the Mike Wagne Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all you need. Look at a professional website without breaking your budget. Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs that blow the competition away. Call today at 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support at sonicwebstudios.com. Mention Mike Wagne Show, get 10% off your first order. Sonic Web Studios, take your image to the next level. Also, the Mike Wagne Show can be heard on the MikeWagnerShow.com. You can check our Facebook page at Facebook.com/The Mike Wagne Show. You can download and listen on Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Also on Anchor FM, Radio Public, iTunes, Google Play, and over 35 podcast platforms. Take the Mike Wagne Show with you on any mobile device. Subscribe to the Mike Wagne Show on the YouTube channel. Also follow the Mike Wagne Show on Instagram and Twitter today. We're here with the founder of Brain Health and Education Research Institute from the Maryland, D.C. area. He has well over 30 years experience, and he is basically has done a lot on brain health and also has worked with the U.S. Army, and also he's a founding member of Pop Warner Football, and he's also served on numerous organizations as well, too, and besides his work in the Army. And he's also got a book as well, too, called Peak Performance, A Doctor's Guide to Ultimate Brain Health. And live, ladies and gentlemen, from the beautiful East Coast, he always thinks of everything. And ladies and gentlemen, live with us here, Dr. Michael Lewis. Dr. Lewis, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thanks for joining us today.
It's a great day, Mike. It's good to be with you.
And it's great with you as well, too, and something to think about. And you've got a book called Peak Performance, A Doctor's Guide to Ultimate Brain Health, and you've been doing this for about for over 30 years as well, too. And you serve as a colonel in the U.S. Army, and you also help thousands of people around the world, and you also worked with a number of athletes, and also a founding member of Pop Warner Football. You were on several organizations and more, and just also talking about why it's important to have good brain health in these stressful times as well, too, and what you need to do to improve. And before you do all that, tell us how you got started.
Well, I spent a career in the Army by way of graduating from West Point, and a few years in the Army, then went to medical school at Tulane University down in New Orleans. And on my way to becoming a surgeon, I decided to take a sidetrack and did training in preventive medicine and public health with a focus on infectious, particularly international infectious diseases. Created some disease surveillance programs that got some notoriety. The one program called the Essence Program is used globally by state and local health departments around the world, and the CDC. Out of that, I got the opportunity to live and work in Asia, and chasing down, looking for new and interesting diseases. And interestingly enough, was there when SARS and bird flu happened. Then came back, was teaching at the military medical school, and gotten interested and involved in traumatic brain injury and how we can use nutrition to help the recovery from traumatic brain injury and sports concussions, and as well as potentially even help increase the resilience of the brain to withstand, which really kind of got me into the whole brain health arena, which even today with the whole COVID-19, we're dealing a lot of it's brain health because people are really stressed out, and that affects both our immune system as well as our brain health.
Mm-hmm. And of course, a lot of it involved, too, like anxiety, exhaustion, brain fog, mental, physical sluggishness, irritability, rigid thinking, poor restless sleep, overwhelming fatigue. And, these are just the components that, your brain goes through and just goes through a lot. And, what are some of the ways to overcome that? And some of it, they're causing as well, too. And we'll get to some of the things like 4 supplements and more. So you just...
Well, and I'll jump in and just say that, everything you just described, those are commonplace in people that have suffered a concussion or a brain injury. But yet we're seeing the same things now with this stressful environment around dealing with this coronavirus. So it has to make you wonder, what's the underlying mechanisms that you could have a concussion and have all of these things, or you could not have a concussion and be so stressed out about what's going on in the world today, have those exact same symptoms just like you had a concussion. Everything from the brain fog and fatigue and poor sleep and so on, just like you mentioned.
Mm-hmm. And also, too, PTSD as well, too. That being affecting the brain as well, too. So, talk about PTSD and, affecting brain health.
Well, I think we're going to have a national PTSD after we get out of this mess.
I am not surprised, I'll tell you that. But of course, why is it important to optimize your brain? And, of course, what are the 4 supplements that everyone needs when it comes to, taking care of your brain?
Well, I've expanded a little bit because people are really worried about, what is the best way to keep myself healthy or keep my immune system strong, and can you do it with supplementation? So my number one foundation for anybody, whether you're wanting better brain health, better peak performance, or whether you're struggling with your brain health, is fish oil or omega-3 oil. That's absolutely my number one foundation for just about anybody. Because most people are quite deficient in omega-3s, or on the other side of things, we get way too many omega-6s. And omega-6s, which is throughout our food supply, it's what we use to process foods and so on. Omega-6s, the downstream effect is inflammation. And omega-3s help resolve the inflammation, but we're so out of balance that, I look at, let's basically do a loading dose of omega-3s and right-size that equation, that balance of omega-6 to omega-3s. We can do it quickly with supplementation with omega-3s. So absolutely my foundation for number one.
Mm-hmm. And also another thing, too, the regimen for optimizing brain health, which will leave you energetic and clear and, helping calm, cool, even most stressful situations, especially COVID. So what are some of the regimens that you do? And also, most importantly, which food should you actually eat and which ones are actually sabotaging the areas of the brain?
Well, the only diet that's ever been shown to be healthy for your brain or to improve cognition or at least keep cognition from decreasing over time is the Mediterranean diet. And that's basically, fruits and vegetables as the foundation and lean meats and principally, an emphasis on seafood. Olive oil, not canola oil and all these. The only 3 oils I use in my house are olive oil, coconut oil, and avocado oil. I never use canola oil, grapeseed oil, vegetable oil, any of those. You just get rid of those. They're just bad news. They're not good for you. And simple sugars, cakes, candies, cookies, desserts, just the simple sugars, anything white bread, white milk, white pasta. Those are basically simple sugars. So you really need to eliminate simple sugars as much as possible while also decreasing carbohydrates. The only carbohydrates we really should be consuming are from fruits and vegetables.
Mm-hmm. And how about coffee?
I am a big fan of black coffee. Some people like the bulletproof coffee. You can look that up. But when you take coffee and you start adding lumps or tablespoons of sugar and white milk, it's just, you're defeating the entire purpose. Coffee has a lot of good minerals. I like organic, good, wholesome, good quality coffee, but I like it black because all the other stuff that you add into it, that's all bad news.
Mm-hmm. I'm a fan of black coffee as well, too, and I'm drinking some right now as we speak. So I have to say this is that I think I'm starting to improve already having black coffee. I hope you're doing the same thing, having black coffee right now. If not, I'll give you some right now. So,
really, the only two things I drink on a regular basis is water and black coffee. I won't get into the whole alcohol thing. If you don't drink, don't start. And if you do drink, there's alcohol that is. Basically make sure you do it in moderation, and certain things are better than others. One of the things is, well, I like vodka or whatever. Well, okay, that's great, but what are you mixing it with? And it's usually the mixers that are the problem, because they tend to be very sweet. So, watch what you drink if you do drink at all.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's important as well, too. And we'll talk about the 5-minute routine and how to improve your brain health as well, too, and more. But first, listen to The Mike Wagne Show at themikewagnershow.com, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Looking at a professional website without breaking your budget? Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs that blow the competition away. Call today at 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagne Show. Get 10% off your first order. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level. Also, the Mike Wagne Show can be heard on the MikeWagnerShow.com. You can check our Facebook page at Facebook.com/the Mike Wagne Show. You can download and listen on Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Also on Anchor FM, Radio Public, iTunes, Google Play, and over 35 podcast platforms. Take the Mike Wagne Show with you on any mobile device. Subscribe to the Mike Wagne Show on the YouTube channel. Also follow the Mike Wagne Show on Instagram and Twitter today. We're here with Dr. Michael Lewis, the founder of Brain Health Education and Research Institute, and he's also got a book called Peak Performance, a doctor's guide to ultimate brain health. And you can just tell us about the peak performance and why is it so important?
Well, I'm gonna have to correct you on one minor thing. So my peak performance program is something I'm working on and basically putting out there through radio shows and podcasts like yours. But I actually do have a book that's available on Amazon, and it's really about how to use nutrition to deal with brain health and particularly concussions. And the name of that book is When Brains Collide.
Oh,
which
interesting.
is available on Amazon.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you're correcting me on that, because it does help to get more information. And yeah, Mike, use your brain, will you? and now since
I'm working on the peak performance aspect of it. That's kind of my current project. I should turn it into a book. Right now, I'm kind of seeing how it goes and learning my lessons as I go along. But if you want to kind of get a head start, and especially while we're on this social distancing and lockdown or whatever you want to call it, go on Amazon and get either in paperback or on Kindle version, get the book When Brains Collide, what every athlete and parent should know about the prevention and treatment of concussions and brain injuries.
Yeah, and it's very important, too. And, of course, also tied to a lot of concussions, especially in the NFL, where there's been like a number of concussions on the rise. And, of course, sadly, a number of suicides had, taken place with concussions. And, of course, a few of my favorite players, say from the Chicago Bears back in the day, and, Sean Gale, and I think, others got affected by concussions, brain injuries, and everything else. And, of course, I just have one question as well, too, that would the NFL be able to eliminate the concussions, or is that going to be like just part of the game?
It's not just the NFL, of course. They get the spotlight, and that's either a good or a bad thing, depending on how you look at it. I always try to be an optimist and say the spotlight being on the NFL has done a great service to the rest of the nation, because it's raised awareness about this issue. So I look at that as a positive thing. It's part of the game, and we can do, and we should do, and continue to do as much as we can to decrease the risk. But honestly, as we get better helmet technology and better equipment, better rules, better, ways of going through practice. One of the things we did with Pop Warner football is we decreased the amount of collisions and tackling in practice, so that you decrease the opportunity for concussions. And honestly, as these things take place and take hold, your high school kid has probably got a greater risk of having a head injury driving to and from practice than they do playing football. And of course, it's not just football. It's soccer, it's ice hockey, it's horseback riding, it's cheerleading, it's, teenagers behind the wheel of cars. So life presents lots of risks and lots of opportunities for head injuries, unfortunately. So I've taken a different approach, the inside out. How do we make the brain more resilient and more able to withstand an injury if a collision occurs? And if it does happen, we at least got the right stuff on board already to help resolve the inflammation and keep the symptoms to a minimum.
Mm-hmm. And of course, too, with the advancement of helmets and, better protective equipment and everything else, and maybe just some common sense to preventing concussions and brain injury as well, too. So, it's almost like a be careful. Maybe you could help take it a step further.
Well, absolutely, because, no helmet will ever be designed that can eliminate the risk of concussions. Of course, we can try to mitigate it. We can try to diffuse the energy by better designs of helmets, but I think just as important is the rules that are continuing to take place, the rule changes, the changing of how we do kickoffs, maybe eliminating three-point stance. And Pop Warner, we eliminate three-point stances in our younger players so that you don't have that head-to-head contact. Players start from a two-point stance, a standing position. Decrease in their younger ages, we've eliminated kickoffs because that generally is the biggest opportunity for concussions to occur. But rugby is experimenting with and they're looking at, anything above the shoulders is considered a dangerous tackle. They're actually looking at implementing rules where anything above the waist, tackling above the waist, is considered a high and dangerous tackle. And they're experimenting with things with that. And, so there's lots of rule changes trying to make games safer. But, why are we playing these games? Why do we allow kids to play football and rugby and ice hockey and soccer? Because they're team sports. Life is a team sport. We should learn these things as kids out playing. You're not going to learn it sitting on the couch eating potato chips playing Xbox. That's not where you're going to learn the lessons of life like you do in team sports.
Mm-hmm. And that's an interesting point, too. And about how about some of the rule changes like you mentioned, like, say, with soccer, hockey, basketball, and everything? What are some of the other notable rule changes when it comes to other sports? We already covered football or even baseball.
Right. Well, U.S. soccer is eliminated heading the soccer ball below a certain age, and I don't want to throw out the age right. If I can't remember, it's 10 or 12 years old, so I don't want to give any false information there. But certainly, your coaches out there, and you can tell you, and you can look that up. So heading in practice and in games is eliminated below a certain age. Checking in ice hockey has been eliminated below a certain age as well. And so I think some of those things are good because, make no mistake about it, we're not talking about boys playing soccer and ice hockey. We're talking about kids. We're talking about boys and girls. One of the most dangerous sports in high school team sports is actually girls soccer.
Really?
And even more so, girls ice hockey actually has one of the highest percentages of concussions, but there aren't that many girls that play ice hockey. But girls soccer, there's almost as many, not quite, but close to as many on a rate basis, per 1,000, per 100,000, however you want to measure it. Girls soccer is almost as dangerous as boys tackle football.
Wow, I did not know that. That is interesting. And, of course, I was just going to ask as well, too, since you got me thinking on this one, no pun intended, that when it comes to concussions and everything, and based on all the studies, the research, and everything else, and what percentage would you say that, like, say, women playing soccer or, boys or men playing football, it's like, what's a percentage of, say, that these concussions, I'm trying to word this properly here, that will lead to, say, with, I'm just trying to think of the word, like with,
long-term issues?
Yes, long-term issues. Thank you. That's what I was trying to say. Thank you.
Well, we don't know. I mean, there's different studies out there that point to different percentages or different rates. So I don't want to give any information out that might contradict some of the science out there, if I don't have it sitting right here in front of me or on the top of my tongue, tip of my tongue. So I don't want to give any false percentages out there, but what we're finding in general is that particularly in teenagers, we're seeing a lot more longer-term effects than we realized. For the longest time, we would just throw out, 10 or 20% of people, their symptoms all resolve within a week. And, next thing you know, another study comes out and says, okay, well, 20% of people, they get better, all their symptoms go away within a month. Now, more studies are coming out showing that there's a higher percentage of kids, teenagers in particular, that have longer-term issues than we ever thought before. I mean, I'm hearing numbers of even 30 or 40 or maybe as many as 50% of kids, teenagers, have longer-term issues because we're getting better at measuring. We're getting better at looking for these issues, are some of the reasons why.
Mm-hmm. And is there advanced science out there that can actually, like say I'm playing soccer, I get hit in the head maybe 100 times during my soccer career. Now, is there like advanced science out there that could say reduce the after effects? I decided to retire from the game. Is there like an advanced science or medicine or anything that could start reducing the effects of what I have from a concussion? Or is it just going to stay there and, just work with training and therapy? And I'm just trying to get at is that would there be like a cure, like say if you had a concussion too, whatever, or too many, would there be a cure to try to get back to normal, or would that be with you for quite some time?
Well, the current medical system, the current medical model is going to tell you only time can heal your brain. And there are no medicines, no cures for a traumatic brain injury or a concussion. And that is true to a point. But what I have taken the approach is the brain's made of fat. And one of the most important fats is these omega-3 type of fats. And so I kind of call it my brick wall analogy. If a brick wall gets damaged, wouldn't you want to use bricks to repair the wall? So if the brain's made of omega-3 fats, wouldn't we want to supply and saturate the brain with omega-3 fats to help the brain if it's going to heal? And you need that basic building blocks, the anti-inflammatory environment for the brain to be able to heal if it's going to heal. So over the last dozen years or so, I've had a tremendous success. Certainly not, it's not a cure. It's not a drug. It's just providing that nutritional foundation to create the environment that's favorable for the brain to heal if it's going to heal, and using what I call optimal doses of omega-3s, principally from fish oil. We just don't eat enough seafood in this country to make that much of a difference, and we have to overcome that omega-6 problem that I talked about earlier.
Mm-hmm. And that's very interesting to know as well, too. And we'll get to more on the along those lines, too, along with a 5-minute routine to maximize your performance. But first, listen to The Mike Wagne Show at themikewagnershow.com, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Looking for a professional website without breaking your budget? Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs at below the competition way. Call today at 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagne Show, get 10% off your first order. Sonic Web Studios, take your image to the next level. Also, the Mike Wagne Show can be heard on the MikeWagnerShow.com. You can check our Facebook page at Facebook.com/the Mike Wagne Show. You can download and listen on Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Also on Anchor FM, Radio Public, iTunes, and over 35 podcast platforms. Take the Mike Wagne Show with you on any mobile device. Subscribe to the Mike Wagne Show on the YouTube channel. Also follow the Mike Wagne Show on Instagram and Twitter today. We're here with Dr. Michael Lewis, the founder of Brain Health Education and Research Institute here on the Mike Wagne Show. We talked about the book, When Brains Collide. It's currently on Amazon, and he's also working on Peak Performance, a doctor's guide to ultimate brain health. And, a couple of things we're going to get to as well, too. You have a 5-minute routine to help maximize your performance during stressful encounters, like the COVID virus. You can just tell us all about that.
Well, ultimately there's a couple of things that we can do, and I'll focus on the whole COVID virus situation. And number one is information overload. Boy, we're just getting slammed 24 hours a day with information about this, and because we're locked in our houses, we are following these things. We got these supercomputers in our hands called smartphones. We're on social media. We've got 600 television channels. There's not enough news out there to fill 24 hours a day. So
tell me about it. I work in one.
I know. Well, there was a time when we were kids, we got the morning newspaper and the evening news, and that is plenty. So, we talk about limiting screen time for kids. We need to limit screen time for adults because that is stressing us out beyond belief, So put down the phone and the social media and keep it limited. You don't need it 24 hours a day. There's just not enough news to fill that time. Healthy eating. We already talked about that, but the next one falls on really quick is exercise. Even the busiest people can find 5 minutes to exercise. Just get your heart rate up for 5 minutes, whether it's everything from jumping jacks or before you get out of bed, before you jump in the shower or head off for the day. Get down and do as many push-ups as you can do in 2 minutes, and maybe some sit-ups. Do something just for 5 minutes even. But, as we're in lockdown, if you're not going to work because, that's your situation, get outside, get some fresh air, get some sunshine, take a walk, take a bike ride, take a jog, do it with family, do it with loved ones. Keep your social distancing apart from your, away, in addition to your family, however you want to put that. Get outside and exercise. But one of the most important things we can do is not even 5 minutes. It's 30 seconds. Is when you're feeling stressed, the best thing you can do is pause, hit the pause button, and take just 3 slow, deep breaths in and hold it for a second or two and then let it out nice and slow. Do that 3 times. You will be shocked at how quick and how effective that is at calming your system down. And we just got to remember to breathe, especially in these crazy times. Keep your loved ones close. If you can't have them close, that's when you use technology, right? To reach out and talk to people, your loved ones. Like my daughter's on the West Coast, and, trying to keep in touch with her on a regular basis. So if you can't, that's when you should use technology. So, count on your loved ones, keep them close. Get outside and exercise. Take your vitamin C and your vitamin D and your magnesium and your zinc, along with your fish oil. And one of my favorites, my number 2 besides fish oil, is taking hemp CBD to help calm things down. And CBD really works synergistically with omega-3s, so it's a win-win situation.
Mm-hmm. And of course, while you're talking as well, too, tell everybody to take deep breaths and everything. I did that actually, and believe it or not, I actually do feel better. That was very, very helpful.
It's a quick 30-second, not even 30 seconds, but, a 30-second timeout. And you can do that as many times as you want during the day. It doesn't cost you anything.
and that's a good thing, too. No need to go to the doctors or, pay whatever it is to go to a hospital like that. That's a really good idea. And, of course, how to eliminate fatigue so you feel fresh and alert even at the end of the day. And, of course, most people think that, how can I do that? But then it's like you've got the answer to that. And they'll think, oh, I can do that.
Well, ultimately, we have the answers within. And, you may not be able to influence the situation around you. Things happen. But the one thing you can control is how you react to what's going on around you. That's what you have control. I love the old World War II saying in England and the posters, keep calm and carry on. I think that is just, it kind of sums it up, is keep calm and carry on.
Mm-hmm. And of course, you've been you serve as an Army colonel as well too for over 31 years, and you should pretty much know that too. So,
well, I've certainly had my share of stressful situations over my lifetime in military service, and the people that do well and thrive. I even look at some of the extreme things like being in the Vietnam War, being a POW in the Hanoi Hilton as an example. And the people that thrived from that, or at least survived better than others, are people that had gratitude, that recognize that even as bad as my situation is, I still have things to be thankful for, and kept that positive attitude. So they couldn't control the fact that they were POWs, but they could control how they thought and how they reacted to their horrible situation. So, we think we might have it bad now being so-called locked in your house. Not really. There are people that have been through a lot worse and survived and even thrived and went on to do greater things in life.
Mm-hmm. And that sounds amazing too, working with, countless of people and, helping them see the light at the end of the tunnel. That is fantastic. And just a couple of things as well too with, Dr. Michael Lewis, of course, he is the founder of Brain Health Education and Research Institute here on the Mike Wagne Show, based out of the, D.C., Maryland area. And who do you consider biggest influence in your career?
Repeat that one. Who or what?
I'm sorry. Who do you consider biggest influence in your career?
Well, I would, interestingly enough, I've had some interesting mentors along the way, but one of the things that always stands out to me, and it's as you get older, you sort of think back, and when I was at West Point, and I was struggling my junior year a bit, and particularly in one of the advanced mathematics classes, and I had the head of the mathematics department. I swear at the time I thought he was the oldest colonel in the world. And he called me in and he goes, "What's wrong? Why are you not doing well in my class?" And I gave him some lame excuses and stuff, and he said, if you basically, I'll give you the really short version of it, is he goes, West Point develops leaders for the country, leaders for our nation. If you just want to be in the Army and be a lieutenant in the Army, drop out of West Point, and there's easier ways to do this. But West Point exists to make leaders for our nation, and I never forgot that. Even what I do on a daily basis, I think of how can I impact our nation and make it a better place.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's really important as well too. And what's the best advice you can give to anybody at this point?
A tagline that just keeps coming back is keep calm and carry on. Really, if you really analyze that, it's really got some great words of wisdom. I mean, it got attributed to Winston Churchill, but it really was more of a British saying. He didn't come up with it, but he sort of popularized it. I think, at a time of, when the days were the darkest in London in World War II, that was kind of a rallying cry to keep the population moving forward. And we're in pretty dark days now, so be grateful for what you're doing and what you have. I should say, be grateful for what you have. Remember, you can't control everything that's going on around you, but you can control your attitude and how you approach things.
And that's very true, too. Once again, Dr. Michael Lewis here on the Mike Wagne Show, author of When Brains Collide. Also coming up, Peak Performance, a doctor's guide to ultimate brain health. You've been fantastic. Thank you very much for your time. Love to have you back on sometime in 2020 and more. Once again, tell us about your upcoming projects, your website, how do people contact you, and where can people purchase your book?
Well, go to Amazon and get the book When Brains Collide, available in paperback and Kindle version, When Brains Collide on Amazon. When I retired from the military, I started a small nonprofit, and the website, lots of information. I think the title and the website says it all. It's brainhealtheducation.org, brainhealtheducation.org. And getting a little bit more into the YouTube world of things, one of the companies I work with, they've got a great YouTube channel. I'm putting more and more content up there, and that would be on YouTube, the CV Sciences TV channel. That's C as in Charlie, V as in Victor, CV Sciences TV channel on YouTube.
That is fantastic. Dr. Lewis, a big thank you for your time. You've been fantastic. Looking forward to having you again soon. Do us a favor, keep this up to date. We'll have you back on sometime in 2020 and beyond. Keep us up to date.
All right. Sounds great, Mike.
Thanks for listening to the Mike Wagne Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. The Mike Wagne Show can be heard on Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, iTunes, YouTube, Anchor FM, Radio Public, and themikewagneshow.com. Please support our program with your donations at themikewagneshow.com. Join us again next time for another great episode of The Mike Wagne Show.